Hello everybody out there. My name is Swank Ivy and I'm an asexual. Hi Swank Ivy! Okay, so I'm making a video today about asexuality. I'm an asexual, and that is a person who isn't interested in having sex. I'm not saying I'm an amoeba or that I reproduce asexually. I'm saying I am asexual, also known as non-sexual. Some people say antisexual or celibate, but those two things aren't quite what it is. This video today is going to be about what asexuality is and my personal experiences with it, because there are an awful lot of things that asexuality is not, and I'm going to make a video series about some of those things later, but today I'm just going to focus on what is asexuality. A lot of people have questions when a person says that they're asexual or they're not interested in going after another person that way, that we don't see other people in that context. And I get three main responses. One of them is very nice. It's along the lines of, okay, that's cool, she doesn't want to have sex, leave her alone. That's always really nice when that happens, but most people fall into one of the other two categories. One of them is to believe that I'm serious and there really are people who don't want to have sex, and then they have a whole lot of questions, curiosity, which is fine, and I don't mind entertaining those kinds of questions at all. The second camp, of course, are people who, for whatever reason, have decided there is no such thing, and respond to my assertion that I'm asexual with, no you're not, because there's no such thing, and then they proceed to list a whole bunch of things that must actually be what's wrong with me. That's why I want to make a video, because asexuality does exist, and we are out here, and you're probably going to run into us one day if you haven't already. But there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of information about asexuality out there. So I know that the people that get more attention are the people in the alternative sexuality community, such as gay and lesbians, bisexuals, transgendered. I've even seen some stuff on the intersex people, but I haven't really come across a whole lot of stuff about asexuality. So I want to start. So, let's start. What is asexuality? Well, it is, first of all, it is an orientation, which means it is very much like being gay, being bisexual, in that it's not something you choose, and it's unlikely to change over your lifetime. Another thing it is an endpoint on a bell curve of sexuality. Sexuality is a continuum, and I'm sure everybody out there has met those people who are unusually obsessed with it, who seem to need it more often than other people. You know, and it only makes sense that if there's people like that out there, there's people on the other end of the spectrum who don't think about it at all, or maybe just don't think about it very often. It makes sense that there'd be people at both ends. So that's another thing that it is. A third thing it is it is a healthy mindset. Some people cannot imagine being both healthy and uninterested in sex, and some people even assume that sexuality is actually one of the basic needs for being happy in life. But for some of us, that just isn't true. And it is possible to be healthy and well-grounded and have a positive outlook and just not think about it and not need it. So I'm not damaged or lonely or in need of a conversion just because I'm not interested. It kind of reminds me of when people are trying to get you to convert to their religion, and they say, well, I wasn't happy until I embraced such and such. So I know you're not happy because you haven't embraced such and such. That's not how it works. You guys all know that. Okay, another thing that it is a mature state. It doesn't indicate that I just haven't met the right person yet. Oh wait, I'm getting into what it's not. It is a mature state, and you can be both physically and emotionally mature and still just have no interest. So another thing it is it's a very broad category. There are all kinds of different asexuals, and I happen to be an aromantic asexual. That's what they call it when you're not interested in a domestic partnership either. I'm not looking for any kind of partner. I don't like to cuddle. I don't want to find another asexual to be roommates with or, couple up with them. But there are some people who do want to. Some people who do want that sort of relationship. So, there's all kinds. Growing up, a little about me, I realized when I was maybe 14 or 15 that it didn't seem that it was a case of I'm not interested yet. It just seemed like I wasn't interested at all, and it just never happened that I was interested. So, peer pressure is a powerful thing. So, there were lots of people out there telling me, oh, well, you have to try it to know if you like it. So I thought, well, maybe I do need to try it, even though most people who hadn't tried it knew very well that they wanted to. So, I tried it. I tried not actually going all the way, but, I fooled around a little, experimented a little. I had a couple boyfriends I have kissed and cuddled with, both men and women, and, went a little further with the guys because they seemed to be a little more insistent, but I never found anything that floated my boat, and, without the feelings that usually go with that sort of thing. It's kind of yucky, kind of gross. Not for me. So, anyway, of course, I had not heard of anybody going through life just never developing an interest, but I wasn't going to say to myself, well, I've never heard of anybody else that feels this way, so I must not feel that way. That's not how I am. I'm in touch with myself, and I knew that I wasn't feeling these things, and I wasn't going to pretend to. So, what else? So I figured I'll write about it. I wrote an article, and it got the attention of a couple of people out there who wanted to interview me in mainstream publications, which, that happened. I was asked to be on television, but I said, oh, well, that's a little too hairy for me because, I can't control how they present me, and I don't want them to do anything that makes me look like a crackpot. So that's why a video made by me was my answer. So what I'd like to accomplish with this video is that I want to provide a little more attention to the issues. I would like for both other asexuals and people who are not asexuals that may encounter them to be able to understand, and I want there to be I guess an experience for when an asexual comes out, so to speak, to not be confronted with, well, there's no such thing as that, so let's get you in therapy. I'd like to hear, whoa, okay, I've never met one of you guys before, but I've heard of it. And how are people going to hear of it if people like me don't speak up? So, I would like some recognition. I don't need a parade or anything, but, I would just like there to be some awareness out there. So, anyway, in general, I don't mind at all entertaining questions, but I do expect some courtesy and some open-mindedness. Maybe think to yourself, well, what if she really is what she says she is? Maybe this really exists and I've just never heard of it, even though I can't imagine it. Try and keep your mind open, and then I don't mind at all if you want to ask me some questions. So in my next videos, I'm going to itemize a top 10 list that I came up with a long time ago of things people suggest are really the reason for my lack of interest in sex besides asexuality. So I'll probably address those things and whatever shows up in my comments field by then. So, I hope this has been a good introduction to what it is, and look out for my next video. Thanks very much for watching.